What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And the Phillies, they get another victory. They win the series once again. That is 5 series in a row over the Miami Marlins as they win tonight by a score of 6-1. JT Realmuto on a completely different level. He goes deep twice in this game. A solo shot to go back-to-back with Bryce Harper in the 6th inning, and also a 3-run shot in the 7th inning to get the Phillies an even wider cushion just to help the bullpen out even more. Kyle Gibson, he had a very nice bounce back today after a very shaky first inning, and we're thinking to ourselves, oh boy, is this going to be another rough Kyle Gibson start? Thankfully, that wasn't the case. He really settled down after that first inning. Offense, they struggled a little bit against Edward Cabrera. They did get bases loaded in the first inning with 2 outs. Once again, they weren't able to score, but they hung out in there. Kyle Gibson kept it a 1-run game. Then Bryce Harper broke it open. JT goes back-to-back, and then eventually the rest follows through. Once you get that 1 run, the floodgates open up, and that's exactly what happened in this game. Yesterday was the young guys that stepped up. Today, the veterans did. Bryce Harper, JT, and Jean Segura. Jean Segura was also really good in this game. Really good. Really, really, really good. Overall, just a fantastic win. Bullpen was really solid. Zack made his return to the majors tonight. He looked really good. The fastball was actually very sharp. 1-2-3 inning for him. Connor Brogdon seals the deal in the 9th. Overall, that's another series win. And basically, ever since that West Coast road trip with Arizona and San Francisco, you have gone 7-1. 7-1 in your last 8 games. That's really good. And now after this win, since the San Diego Padres lost today to the Seattle Mariners, you are now 2.5 games above them for the second wild card spot. And currently, the Milwaukee Brewers are losing to the St. Louis Cardinals, 3-1 so far, but the Brewers do have 2 men on base with 2 outs. So hopefully that doesn't come to fruition or something like that. But right now, you're still in control of your own destiny. You are now 80-62 on the year. You are 18 games above 500. That is a season best this year. Keep it coming. Keep the wins coming. And you have a chance to sweep tomorrow with Noah Syndergaard on the bump going up against Pablo Lopez. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Bring the brooms out. But overall, this has been a very nice bounce back stretch for this team after that very sluggish road trip out in Arizona and San Francisco. Win the series last week against the Marlins, sweep the Nationals over the weekend, and get another series win over Miami, this time in Miami. And without your best pitchers on the mound, going up against with Bailey Falter up against Sandy Alcantara yesterday. Bailey Falter was amazing. Kyle Gibson up against Edward Cabrera today, basically the same exact thing. Marlins took a 1-0 lead, then the Phillies fought back and scored some runs to win the game up. And the bullpen, they sealed the deal. Kyle Gibson kept you in the game. And that's basically there. See what this team can do tomorrow. Let's see if we can bring the brooms out. Then we move on to Atlanta. Then we move on to a very tough stretch. 3 games in Atlanta, 2 games at home against Toronto, then 4 games at home against Atlanta. It's going to be a very fun stretch. It's going to be a very tough stretch for this team. But they really bounced back from that West Coast road trip, and I like the way they bounced back against these other teams that they've taken care of business against this year. That's 5 series in a row, wins against the Marlins to close out that season series. Something we probably wouldn't have said in the past couple of years, because the Marlins, they've been our Achilles heel, basically, I would say, since 2018, 2019. The Phillies just, for some reason, could not figure out a way to beat the Miami Marlins. That logo, that field in Florida, which is terrible. Jean Segura should have had a home run in this game as well. It just died right at the wall, at the top of the wall, basically. Ball doesn't carry there, but thankfully for JT and Bryce Harper, they got their home runs out of the park just for annihilating the baseball. But just something about that Marlins stink was affecting the Phillies the past couple of years. And they wrote those demons off this year by winning series against them and saying, hey, we can beat this team. And the amount of times they had beat Sandy Alcantara this year, that's also something to write home about. Guy's going to be at least a favorite for the Cy Young. Maybe he's going to win it. And you won a lot of starts against him this year. You've had his number this year, specifically McMahon as well with 2 home runs. But hey, it's another series win against the Marlins. You take it, you run with it, try to go for the sweep tomorrow to make this stretch of 9 games since that, road trip. Go 8-1. That'll be a very nice bounce back. See if you can do it tomorrow. But still, a series win is the most important thing, and that is exactly what you did today. That is exactly what you did. You got another series win under your belt. Now you try for the sweep tomorrow, and then you move on to the Braves this weekend. Can't be any more excited. Can't be any more excited. JT Realmuto. Just for what this guy has done. What this guy has done basically since the start of the second half. Honestly, maybe even before the second half. Just with, him coming out with everything, how he struggled, how much he sucked in the first half of the year. Then you go to that short Toronto series where he's not able to travel to Canada because he's not vaccinated and all that controversy went down. Ever since then, he's been a completely different player. Bryce Harper goes down. He steps up. He's been flat out amazing since. Flat out amazing. Been a whole different level for JT since then. And I'm loving this JT. We're all loving this JT. And we want him to stay, and he has been so electric for this team so far. Throwing guys out, trying to steal bases, hitting home runs, stealing bases himself, just being basically best catcher in baseball. This is best catcher in baseball, JT Realmuto. So let's see. Let's see what happens. But then also, I guess, when we're talking about positives, there's also going to be a negative brought up because of course, we can't catch breaks with goddamn, getting hit in the fucking hands. Rhys Hoskins gets hit in the hand during this ball game, right? I think right around right here on his right hand, right on the edge of it. He went down in pain. He stayed in the game for a little bit. He went to first base. He played first base the next inning, but then eventually Alec Boehm went to first base, and then Mundo Sosa came in to play third. Rhys Hoskins went in to get x-rays. The initial report from Jim Salisbury was a hand contusion, and they're going to be taking an MRI. So we're basically just waiting for the official update from the Phillies just to see what happened in that situation. So basically, I'm going to be updating Twitter just to see what happens if we do get an announcement from Rob Thompson. They are interviewing him right now on everything, and it does say on postgame that the X-rays on his right hand are negative. So that's a bright thing. That's a positive. My guess would be Rhys gets a day off tomorrow. He gets a day off. Boehm plays first base. Sosa plays third. Give Rhys a day off there to let that hand rest up. That's basically it. You got the series win already. Give Rhys that day off. That's basically what I would expect at this point. So it's a bright thing right there. X-rays are negative. That's the more positive thing to take away from this, I guess. So yeah. Basically, throughout this ball game, you had the bases loaded chance in the top of the first. You definitely did. Schwarber leadoff single. JT walked with 2 outs. Alec Boehm walked with 2 outs, and then Bryson struck out to end that situation. So no damage done there. Marlins, they do some damage on Kyle Gibson. He allows a 1-out single, but then he manages to pick off Rojas at first base. So you got a 2-out situation, but then he allows back-to-back-to-back singles. So technically 4 singles in a row there. If you're, with the pickoff as well. Scores a run, makes it a 1-0 lead in that situation. But then also Marlins make a base running blunder, which allows them to get out of the inning. So honestly, that Marlins base running mistake probably saved the Phillies' ass in this game because they didn't score another run the rest of the ball game. Double play on the top of the second inning. Then really the Phillies, they had their chances, but Edward Cabrera is nasty. He definitely is. They don't get their chance. Kyle Gibson settles down. He retires a lot of Marlins in a row after that. Then we go to the top of the 6th. Bryce Harper absolutely destroys the ball. The Phillies were having a lot of good at-bats against Cabrera, though. They were making a pitch. They were fouling pitches off. They were waiting for those mistakes, and they were eventually going to get, cash in on those. And Bryce Harper does exactly that. He laces a ball to the opposite field, smokes it, goes over the wall, ties it up. That's Bryce Harper's 100th career home run in a Phillies uniform. Ties the ball game up at 1. And then JT, early in the count, gets a hanging slider. Just absolutely destroys it to center field, goes over the wall, back-to-back solo shots, 2-1 Phillies lead. Bryson Stott gets on with a 2-out single. Then Gene Segura crushes one basically where no one's at in the gap. Scores Bryson Stott from first. Becomes a 3-1 Phillies lead. Gibson has a 1-2-3 sixth inning, so that's a much-needed shutdown inning from Kyle. Go to the top of the seventh, and the Phillies continue to put more runs on the board. Brandon Marsh gets the single, but then Kyle Schwarber grounds into a fielder's choice where Rojas makes a kind of a mistake. He bobbles the ball after tagging Marsh, so Schwarber manages to be safe at first. Sosa strikes out when the bullpen comes in, so that's 2 outs. Bryce Harper works a walk. It was another battle of an at-bat from him, and then he gets the JT. Wild pitch happens during his at-bat too, which moves the runners over the second and third. And we were just thinking to ourselves, JT, just get the ball in play and score 2 runs. That's all you got to do. He does way more. He battles in his at-bat, couple of foul balls, 3-2 count. Laces it the other way. Ball just squeaks over the top of the wall. Goes into that little gap between the seats and the wall. Home run, 3-run shot. JT second of the game. Makes it a 6-1 Phillies lead. Man, JT was on an absolute tear. Brad Hand comes out for the 7th. He gets the first 2 outs, but then he allows a couple of singles. But then, thankfully, Diaz, I guess, just got the end of the bat on this one. Hits it right to the warning track where Veerling is. Gets the last out of that inning, so thank God for that. Bottom of the 8th, Zack Eflin comes back out. Makes his, return to the big leagues basically since going down on the injured list. What was it, since June, basically, he's been out. So it's been a very long time since we've seen Zack Eflin. Gets a 1-2-3 inning, ground out, pop-up, strikeout. Fastball had some gas to it today. Hitting 94 on that fastball, locating it very well. Still the first, appearance back for him since the, getting injured, but still. Very solid outing out of Zack Eflin. So hopefully he can find a way to bring some confidence into that bullpen because I doubt he's going to, make any type of return to the rotation. He's mainly going to be a bullpen guy. Bottom of the 9th, Connor Brogdon out there on the mound. He just went out there throwing gas and just, let's end this fucking game. That's basically what Connor Brogdon did. 2 strikeouts. Like, where the hell's this Connor Brogdon been? Like, he just goes out there and shuts everything down. I would like that from Connor Brogdon more because he did exactly that. So, he's going to win. Looking at the lineup today, Kyle Schwarber, he goes 1 for 5. Rhys Hoskins, before he got injured, goes over 1. And then Sosa came into the ball game, went over 3 with 2 strikeouts. Bryce Harper goes 1 for 3 with the solo shot and 2 walks as well. JT Realmuto 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs with those 2 home runs. Alec Boehm, he went over 3 with a walk today. Bryson Stott goes 1 for 4. Gene Segura 1 for 3. Nick Maton did start this game, went over 1, but then Matt Veerling came in when the Marlins eventually brought into the bullpen. He went 1 for 2 Veerling, and then Brandon Marsh went 1 for 4. Phillies with runners in scoring position, they went 1 for 4. Pitching-wise today, Zack Eflin, a much-needed bounce-back performance. 6 innings, 6 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts, 0 walks, which is really important on 98 pitches. Brad Hand, he allowed a couple of hits on 24 pitches, but also struck out 1. Zack Eflin, 11 pitches, struck out 1. Connor Brogdon, 10 pitches, struck out 2 in the 9th inning. So overall, once again, very solid. Very, 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 very solid overall. Brad Hand, though, it's just like he gets 2 outs, and it's just like, ugh, can you just get out of it cleanly, please? Please, Zach, Brad, please. But overall, the rest of the bullpen was fine besides Brad Hand. Even though he still got out of that situation, he almost allowed a home run, which could have made it 6-4. Could have. But it didn't. But hey, get a win. Get a series win. Once again, that's all that matters. And the Cardinals, they managed to get out of that top of the 7th without allowing a run. So they're still winning 3-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning with a runner on second base. So we got to see what happens there with the Cardinals and the Brewers. But overall, after this win and also a Padres loss to the Mariners earlier this afternoon, the Phillies are now 2.5 games above the San Diego Padres for that second wild card spot. And currently the Brewers are 1.5 games behind the Padres for the third wild card spot. If the Brewers were to lose, that'll move back down to 2 games behind them. So, and it's funny too, I think with this win beating the Marlins, the Phillies officially eliminated them from playoff contention. So, there we go. We ruined the Marlins' chances of any playoff hopes this year. Yeah, now you're seeing a bunch of other teams in the National League getting eliminated. So eventually the Cubs most likely will be eliminated soon. Same with the Rockies, with the Diamondbacks and Giants and all that stuff. So it's coming down to the wire at this point. You got another series win on your hands, and now you got to move to the rest of your schedule, where you have one more game tomorrow against Miami for the rest of the season. Noah Syndergaard going up against Pablo Lopez. Let's try to bring those sweeps out tomorrow. And then you're going to have a weekend series with the Atlanta Braves. Ranger Suarez on Friday going up against Max Fried. Aaron Nola on Saturday going up against Jake Odorizzi. And then Bailey Falter up against Spencer Strider on Sunday. Of course, we are facing Strider because we just can't avoid him. My God, we cannot avoid Spencer Strider at all. Dude's a nasty. And then for the Toronto Blue Jays area, for that 2-game series, Ross Stripling and Kevin Gausman. I'm assuming those are the 2 pitchers for those because that's what it says on ESPN. Right now, the first game against the Blue Jays, they don't know who's starting for the Phillies. If everything goes well with his second bullpen stint, the expectation is that he could slot into that first game against Toronto. So basically, we're just in a wait-and-see point right now with Zach Eflin. And then the second game could be Noah Syndergaard, or if Zach Wheeler does start, I would assume those guys get moved back. It'll be Kyle Gibson in the second game, and then so on and so forth for the rest of that series with the Braves and all that stuff. Then you go down to the rest of your schedule. 4-game series against the Braves. Then you go on your road trip. 3 in Chicago, 4 in Washington, 3 in Houston to close out the season before the playoffs do start. Yeah, that's basically it. So you got your win. It was a solid victory overall. JT Realmuto was absolutely spectacular, and he's been absolutely spectacular basically since that second half turn of the season. Really fantastic. Just overall fantastic. Can't, credit enough, basically. It's a fun ride right now. Phillies are on a fun stretch. Winning series so far, bouncing back from that West Coast road trip. Got a lot of wins under your belt since then. Been a really nice bounce back. You've won 8 or 7 out of your last 8 games, and tomorrow with a win could be 8 out of your last 9. So let's keep that going. Let's keep the train rolling. Bring the sweeps out tomorrow, even though you got the series win, which is the most important thing. Keep it rolling to bring some confidence going into this huge series, huge stretch against the Atlanta Braves, because it's a huge stretch. A lot of good teams you're facing in this stretch. 2 Braves, 1 Blue Jays. And then you go out west, well, not west, on the road trip against 2 below 500 teams, and then the Houston Astros, which most likely that series for the Astros won't mean anything because they'll probably already have clinched the AL West at that point, so they probably won't even be starting their main players. So, got the series win. Go for the sweep tomorrow. It's basically it right there. Go for the sweep. It's what you got to do. I won't be mad if you don't sweep, but I would like a sweep just to keep the train rolling. Playing good baseball lately. Every guy, it seems like it's a new guy every day that's stepping up. And I like that. Yesterday was the young guys, Nick Maton and everything like that, hitting Sandy Alcantara. Today was your veterans. Today was your stars that stepped up. Let's continue to do that. Bounce back for Kyle Gibson. Take all the positives from this game, and hopefully you can build off of that going towards the rest of the year. Bailey Falter has still been fantastic for you. Let's see what Noah Syndergaard's got tomorrow. He had a strong outing in his last game, so let's see what he can do next. Let's see it. Let's definitely see it. Got some guys right here in the comment section. Mr. W, he loves JT. So do I. Ken says fry fish or fish fry. Julian says JT, he was wrong about him. Hopefully Hoskins is hurt bad. He was in the... Are you saying hopefully Hoskins? I don't think he's hurt bad. They're saying the x-rays were negative, so Hoskins, I would assume, get the day off tomorrow just because they won the series already. Give him that day off the rest of hand. 3 home runs for the Phillies. Again, they win when they hit home runs. That is very true. Scott says, awesome team win, good starting pitching, good bullpen, timely hitting, all well going into Atlanta. Yeah, keep the train rolling and go to Atlanta with confidence. That's basically what you got to do there. Hand does it every game, gets the first 2 outs and gives up hits. He walks way too many guys and falls behind everyone. I have no faith in him. This Phillies team is doing what they had a hard time doing in the past. They are beating teams they are supposed to be. That is exactly right. They are taking care of a lot of business against a lot of teams that they should be beating. They beat up the Marlins a lot this year. The first series of the year against the Marlins, they didn't win, but overall, they've won 5 out of 6 series against them, which is really good. And then they've won every series so far against the Nationals. They beat up a lot of teams in the NL Central, except for the Cubs right now. They've taken care of business of some teams in the NL West, and they've taken care of business of some bad teams in the AL. So they've been winning games they should at this point. So let's see if the train can continue the roll. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. It's a very exciting time. You got 80 wins on the year. Most games you are above 500 all year long, 18 games above. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling and lock in that wild card spot. 2.5 games above the Padres. Let's continue it. Let's continue it right now because I am very excited. I am pumped for more Phillies baseball. And I am pumped for the possibility of a red October. Come on, boys. I can sense it. I can feel it. I can taste it. I want it badly. I can sense it. Continue the train. Let's keep this train riding. So it's going to do it for tonight's stream, everyone. I appreciate everyone that joins the live feed as always. So do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to read those. Do not forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out the painted lines and everything else in the description down below, BrodesMedia as well. I recommend all of that. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It goes a very long way. Join the TTP Sports family and also use that code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Use it for anything you can think of, any upcoming of the last Phillies home games this year, and also to any other sporting event you can think of. Eagles home games, Eagles road games. It's a great deal. Don't pass it up. So once again, thank you everyone for joining tonight's stream, and I'll see you next time.